Today, we're talking about a true icon of the sky and the surprisingly deep story of the innovation hub that made it all happen. Just imagine this, crossing the entire Atlantic Ocean in less time than it takes to watch a long movie. For a time, that wasn't science fiction. It was the reality of supersonic travel. That was the incredible promise of Concorde, flying at more than twice the speed of sound. So, how did this incredible dream even get off the ground? And maybe more importantly, what were the challenges hiding in its shadow? Well, let's dive in. Okay, so here's the plan. We're going to start with that supersonic dream, then explore its tragic end. After that, we'll uncover the amazing story of the city that made it all possible, and what that legacy means for the future of flight. So picture this. It's the 1960s. Britain and France, two historic rivals, actually join forces in this monumental undertaking. They sign an international treaty to build the world's very first supersonic passenger jet. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide shows the huge gap between the dream and the reality. At first, there were over 100 options on the table from all the world's top airlines, but when it came down to it, only just two airlines ever actually flew the jet commercially, British Airways and Air France. A huge difference. Yeah, but building something this revolutionary, it pushed engineering to its absolute breaking point limits. So let's get into the incredible tech and the fatal flaws that came with flying faster than sound. So, how did they pull it off? Well, a huge part of the answer was this unique wing design, the OG planform. It was shaped kind of like a Gothic arch, and this genius design gave it the stability it needed for those slow takeoffs and landings, but also let it just scream through the stratosphere at supersonic speeds. Absolutely brilliant. But here's the catch. When you hit Mach 2, the actual physics of flight just changes. It's a whole new ballgame. The spot on the wing where all the lift is focused, the center of pressure, suddenly shoots backward by about 2 meters, and that creates a massive balance problem. So how do you solve a problem like that midair? Well, Concorde was constantly rebalancing itself by pumping fuel from one tank to another. A really complex dance of physics, all managed in real time by the flight engineer. And we're not talking about a tiny adjustment here. This was a fundamental part of every single flight just to keep the plane stable. And that complexity, well, it had tragic consequences. This slide lays out the heartbreaking chain of events from July 25th, 2000. You see, it wasn't one single thing that went wrong. It was this catastrophic sequence, this domino effect, where a simple piece of metal on a runway started a chain reaction that ultimately sealed Concorde's fate. And just like that, the dream was over. Which leaves you wondering, how did this flawed, but let's be honest, magnificent machine ever get built in the first place? Well, the answer isn't in some corporate boardroom. It's in a city in the south of France that basically had flight in its DNA. You know, Toulouse's story with aviation goes way, way back, long before Concorde was even a glimmer in an engineer's eye. It started with visionaries like Clément, and get this, he's the guy who actually coined the French word for airplane, avion. Then, during World War I, an industrialist named Latécoère cleverly built his factories here, far away from the fighting. But his real masterstroke was Aéropostale. This wasn't just a mail service. It created this whole culture of legendary pilots, and it pioneered the tech that led directly to successful jetliners, like the Caravelle. And that spirit? It's not just some story in a history book. It is a living, breathing legacy. Every single year, pilots get in their planes and retrace those exact same daring Aeropostale routes, honoring the pioneers who literally charted the course for modern aviation. So all of that history created this incredible foundation, an ecosystem that today pretty much dominates the global aerospace industry. Just look at this number, 85,000. That's how many aerospace pros are working in Toulouse right now. It's not just a big deal here, it's the single largest aerospace hub in all of Europe. Wow. And get this, it's not just about building planes anymore. Take a look at the skills breakdown. Core engineering is still the biggest piece of the pie, but look at that, almost a quarter of the entire tech workforce is focused on data and AI. That's huge. It shows you this is a city that's pivoted hard from just mechanics to the digital future of flight. And when you have that level of specialization, it absolutely commands a premium. An avionics engineer can expect to earn 20% more than a general IT professional here. That kind of financial incentive,
That's a huge reason why Toulouse can attract and keep the absolute best aerospace talent from all over the world. So what you have is this whole engine, and it's fueled by this really tightly connected network. You've got the huge players like Airbus, of course. Then you've got the elite engineering schools like ISAE-SUPAERO pumping out talent. And then you have this vibrant startup scene with incubators to make sure there's always a pipeline of fresh ideas and new tech. It all works together. But, being this dominant, it actually creates new problems. The ecosystem's own success has created this almost unstoppable demand for talent, and it's forcing the whole industry to evolve again. Okay, so here's the core of the problem. The industry is growing so fast, it's actually outpacing the supply of engineers. Even with thousands of new tech grads every year, the aerospace and defense sectors alone have a shortfall of over 3,000 specialized jobs. It's become this high-stakes race just to find the right people. So to stay on top, the industry is doing what it's always done. It's pivoting. It's aiming for the defining technologies of our time. Think about it. The same kind of brainpower and expertise that built Concorde is now being poured into developing AI for autonomous flight, creating sustainable green aircraft, and building the next generation of defense systems. So, when you look at it, Concorde's dream of pure supersonic speed, well, it might be a memory. But the city that dared to build it, it's busier than ever, defining the next chapter for all of aviation. The same ambition that once chased Mach 2 is now tackling sustainability and autonomous flight. The big question is, what do you think that future will look like?